Alright, so unfortunately, much as I'd love to do like a video bat rep on site, I play in a very busy game store. So unfortunately, due to noise, it's very hard to get good commentary like the other guys. But I figure I still give a shot at doing a Star Wars Legion bat rep with me and my friend Walter here. So we set up, we got a clear we finally figured out we got clear environment or clear where it was, and then breakthroughs. Our goal was to break through the enemy line and get as many of our units in the deployment zone, all that fun stuff. So it starts out, he's got a unit right here, a unit right here, there's another one over here, another squad of stormtroopers here, a tank, and he's got Vader inside the tank. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads of troopers, Rex, and 2 bark speeders. One bark speeder's got the RPS 6. This one's got the twin blaster cannon. These squads over here have the shotguns. These two squads have these two squads here have the Z6s, and they have another RPS 6 on that squad itself. My battle plan overall was to push these guys up, just giving close range to do all the damage they can. I wanted these boys on this roof here, that way they have line of sight to this tank, and that I knew that tank was going to be a problem. I more or less threw this bark speeder at this tank just to try and do as many wounds as I could. This guy here I was going to hold in the back. He had a that compulsory 2 move because they have a sidecar. I can kind of wiggle him back and forth and kind of wait until I can put him to where I need him to go. These guys here, I want him to move up and push towards his temple, because I had an inkling that he was going to try and get these guys on top, just try and get line of sight on all my guys and then rain down fire on me. Also, to keep in mind of Vader, and Vader did a lot of work this game, to say the least. So after these couple of turns, so we pushed up guys, and I got my guys on top of the building with, they had used the Rex's scout just to push up, and then they moved on top of the building. That way I had direct line of sight to that bad boy in the distance. Now I'm pretty sure he can take Vader in the tank, right? He can ride Vader in the tank because he's a singular unit, and I had no problem with it. To me, it made sense. That and Vader's hella slow, so it made sense to me that he would put Vader in that saber tank and try and run him up. Now, despite this guy launching rounds and that bark speeder launching rounds for the first 2 turns, I did no wounds because I figured, hey, that'd be a wound on Vader and a wound on the tank. That's a twofer right there. But unfortunately, I didn't get any. He saved every single shot I had on that guy. Even with the impact, it didn't do anything because he kept saving those wounds. And unfortunately, this tank was able to just roll up here and just drop off Vader, and just bad news cometh from all that nonsense, let me tell you. So at this point, again, this bark speeder, I was just literally throwing this. I was taking this bark and throwing it at this tank just to do wounds. I was just trying to put every shot I could into that in that saber tank. And unfortunately, my luck ran out when he rolled hot, and these twin link blaster cannons just tore me apart. I didn't get a single save in like one swift move. This bark was reduced to ash, and I was like, well, there goes, there goes that plan. Because I got red defense dice for this, so I thought I would last a while, but turns out you got to roll well on those red defense dice in order to make it work. So unfortunately, I couldn't do that, and that bark bit the dust pretty quick. Remember those 2 squads that I had with the shotguns? Well, they both pushed up across the way towards that temple. Probably should have kept that image up, but more or less, these 2 units. Let's see if we can get the picture up here. It'll be the last one, isn't it? No. Okay, so basically, those 2 shotgun troopers who were here, they pushed up hard. Because I assumed that he would try and push up the same direction, right here at the other squad. And I knew with my shotguns I would have a better, I had Pierce with those, so I pushed him up hard. And sure enough, he pushed one squad up here of stormtroopers with a heavy weapon, and these two trooper units, this one here flanked around to right here, and then the other squad came up along the top and came down on top of that. Now, unfortunately, I did lose a trooper or two to clamber because these were clamberable ruins. So I clambered on up. Well, one guy fell and hurt his ankle and couldn't join us in the battlefield, unfortunately. But these two were able to come down and lay hard fire in that unit. I had them suppressed and heavily wounded in just a singular turn once it all got set up. It worked out pretty well in the end, where we more or less wiped out this unit to the man. They didn't get to run; they just got wiped out by the Pierce. This guy's not a DC-15; he's just an extra model. He's just there to help push up the body count. Now, unfortunately, those death troopers here, whew, man, I expected them to do a little less wounds, to say the least. But that far squad over here, not the one on top, they put every round they got into that far squad and got them down to the two men, and they ripped up these two units right here as well. This squad here almost foiled my entire flanking maneuver. But I saw how it was going over here, so I pushed this bark around this side. I figured, you know what, I don't want this bark anywhere near the front of this tank, so I pushed him all the way over here with a full move. These guys are still just trying to plink shots into that tank. They just keep shooting that tank. I finally got a side shot here with that RPS-6, and I finally got a wound through. But by the time I got a wound through it, Vader had already hopped out. Vader was deployed, and Vader's ready to do some work. These two squads here are moving up as well. I pushed up my orange squad up to here, and I was trying to push them up. I want to take the high ground, and then this other Z6 squad, Cherry squad, I'm trying to get them right around this cover here, so that way I could fire into here, and then maybe try and keep this guy in it, and try and keep him outside the terrain, give myself cover while these guys kept pushing down wounds on him. So more or less, it was a big push here to the ruins, a movement to right here at these, and these guys just staying put and trying to weigh all the fire they can into that tank. This bark moved over to Rick's direction, and more or less this bark is going to push up right along here and come up to where these death troopers are, because I figured that these guys would need help dealing with those death troopers. And as you can see, he's already measuring up. These guys had those grappling hooks, and we said these are also clamberable. Just clamber. So he goes flying up with those grappling hooks, and he eventually took this squad and took the top of that hill. Rex, I'm going to push him across as well. So I'm going to push him across. I don't want Rex anywhere near Vader, so he's going to push up and try and help hold that hill. Eventually, he does get his guys up there, and we're just having a running battle from these squad here, going to try and get and take care of these guys. Fire ineffective, to say the least, because he had so much cover, and I couldn't see with all my guys. I could barely even hurt them. While these guys are raining down fire on my squads left and right, and I had to just push them up. I kind of wanted to like be a little bit tactical about it and kind of like just kind of move around the temple and maybe ignore them. But after this guy here with his heavy weapon did 2 wounds to an already decimated squad, I figured that I couldn't sit and wait, so I had to push him up. Unfortunately, I got a little greedy. I pushed them out a little further this way to try and get some wounds on the Vader, and then this tank just rolled up, curved up like this, and came at me. He did a lot of wounds, to say the least. He did a lot of wounds when he rolled up, and this is bad news bears. I believe he came up, he fired everything he had, including the Pinto, into that one squad. I had like 2 guys left. I had the Z6 and the commander left. But yeah, that tank rolled up. I was like, I may have made a bad decision here, because I was hoping to be dead before this even happened, but he was rolling hot in them sades, and he rolled hot to hit me, and that squad didn't last around too long at full strength. I pushed these guys up into close combat, and more or less it was basically a slugfest here, just trying to knock these guys out with melee attacks and tie them up so they couldn't shoot anybody else. Rex, as you can see, moved along here, and Rex is laying down fire into these death troopers here. More or less, he's just running up and doing his best. He's throwing smoke grenades to help cover those shotgun troopers and using his pistols to as best he can. There's that bark speeder. Bark speeder's also putting shots into those death troopers as well, trying to push up hard. As you can see, there's just one guy left here. And here's Vader. Vader's pointing at him, doesn't like him too much. I think I did something wrong here where he... Well, no, because he chose to kill the leader. And I was like, okay, you can kill the leader. And then there's just a Z6 guy left. But even then, the Z6 guy didn't get to shoot anything because he just... It's a Z6. And I think I'm pretty sure the Z6 died before he could even shoot. He just got waylaid to death by stormtroopers and Vader and saber throws. That saber throw off Vader, let me tell you, that thing is a beast to deal with because he just wings that laser boomerang around and it does a lot of damage when it hits you. And it's got Pierce, I believe, too. So good luck trying to save it. Stinks. These guys up here still trying to kill that damn tank. And just slowly blinking away at it. Not fast enough though. Eventually, these shotgun troopers, I think these guys here are the only ones left alive. That other squad got completely wiped out by those death troopers. So these guys are going to push up right around here towards the building. This guy's going to push around towards the rear of that tank or the side of that tank and try and just kind of crit fish and get impact on the flanks of that tank. Rex is going to stay put for a while and eventually push him up here to try and also get shots on Vader or that tank because they're all in close range now. But I consider this side more or less won for the most part. I've removed all the troops from the area. And then there's this madness. This poor Z6 guy gets gunned down. My troops up here are just laying down fire into that squad, just trying to get wounds, but he keeps making his saves. Had a lot of good hits, and he just made his saves. Those red dice, they'll get you every time. I'm more or less ignoring Vader. Vader's kind of wounded by this point, but I'm trying to get all my attacks into these troopers and that tank. Bark coming around, try and get... that Bark's job is just try and get that tank. It's the only thing he can do, so he's coming around with a hard bank. These guys here are going to stand put and try and win the objective of breakthrough because this right here is in the deployment zone. And this squad up here, these RP6 troops, well, they don't have any good news, unfortunately, because Vader comes around. This is another shot. See, this guy's still alive. This is before Vader kills him off, and that tank does. Kind of pointing. It's kind of an action shot where they're pointing down at those troopers. You know, I thought it was kind of a cool little shot. After they beat down the Empire stormtroopers. That's also an old picture. It's an old picture. Thankfully, ooh, that's sideways as heck. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. So, fortunately, I'm able to crit fish with the Z6 in the side of that tank, and this also does a bit of a crit fish into the front. And I'm able to finally take that tank down on the last turn. The last turn, that tank finally fell, and I was like, "Jeez," because he just kept making his saves, and he was rolling hot in them dice saves. Vader eventually comes over. Yeah, so let's see, where is Vader? Well, Vader was here, and Vader's cleaned up that entire squad by himself. It was hard to watch. It was very hard to watch because Vader's basically rolled up. He would choke a bitch and then throw his lightsaber sword, and next turn he choked someone else. It was hard. And then he had that turn card or command card where you can put Vader back into the pool by suffering a wound, and he did that, and he cleared off that entire squad by himself. They did their best. They held the antenna room as long as they could, but it's Vader. Not all I can do against Vader. That's more or less how the game ended. I had my boys up here, and these guys here. Had Rex here, and that Bark Speeder. He had a unit of troopers left, and Darth Vader was right over here. So I more or less won this game, but it was making me sweat because this tank does a lot of work. I think that tank did a majority of the wounds. That tank and those death troopers, man, when you roll hot with those two units, they can clear out units like no one's business. My squads were hurting when those things would open up. It would have helped if I had taken these things down here and rolled them a little bit better, but unfortunately I can't roll them very good. I'm a bad dice roller. But it's a really good game, and I really do love just how tactical this game can be and how it simulates an actual battlefield. I just love it to death, and I cannot wait to play more Star Wars Legion next weekend. Coronavirus be damned. I'm going to try and get better pictures more in order this time, as well as the scenic shots. But yeah, so until I get a bigger house with my own game room, it's going to be mostly pictures. But hope you all enjoy this little weird bat rep, and keep a strong dice end out there, and happy wargaming.